Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and this is a beautiful thing. XRP leading the market today. XRP price action was the driver of Bitcoin price action. Oh, how I love that. It's just like a little taste of what things will be like once the flippening happens and XRP supplants Bitcoin as #1 in market cap. One day. As soon as the market figures out, what coins are actually being used, and then the importance of utility will indeed take hold in terms of price. That's what I believe. Anyway, that's my investment thesis here. So lots to talk about here. So what caused this most recent rally? It was news from Binance. That's what a lot of people are saying, and they're probably something to that, but it's probably a little bit more in depth. It looks like there was we were really in store for the price action in terms of XRP, some sort of notable price action, one direction or another. Thankfully, it ended up being positive. But there's a chart analyst that called this actually. Not specifically because, again, a chart analyst, most of them are not making quote-unquote price predictions. They're talking more about probability of outcomes. That's really what the value of chart analysis is. When people get into price predictions, it can be fun to talk about and think about, so I'm happy to cover that type of stuff too. But really, as far as what most chart analysts do, it's more about what direction it's going to go and potentially what kind of range price-wise we're talking about. And that can be a lot of fun as well. And so that's why I always love tracking this and putting out content about it. But anyway, somebody kind of called that this was going to happen, so I'm happy to highlight when somebody gets a win here. What about Bitcoin, though? Is the price rally with XRP actually going to continue? Well, okay, so XRP led it, but could Bitcoin help to ensure a continuation of this? Some people tend to think yes. So lots to talk about in this video. Before we go any further, though, if you would please delicately tap that like button, and if you're a fan of XRP leading the freaking crypto asset class in terms of price action today, go ahead and subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel, which, as a matter of fact, and it is fact, not opinion, Moon Lambo channel is the best channel on all of YouTube. There we go. All right, so crypto asset class now at $207 billion. As I record this, Bitcoin's at $7,891. XRP at 21.9 cents. Now, if you look here, though, here's the 24-hour chart. 24-hour low for XRP was 19.5 cents, but the high was 22.3 cents, and it was up there for a little bit. If you're looking at the screen right now, don't worry if you're driving, of course. I don't want you to become crashed into something. Pay attention, eyes on the road, motorist. But you can see it did for a brief period, not too brief, but kind of a brief period, stay above 22 cents. There's been no major retracement to this point. And I want to show this visualization because the vast majority of the time when I make videos like this, I love to illustrate the point that XRP is following the price action of Bitcoin just like every other altcoin is. The vast majority of the time, not the case now over the last 24 hours. So here's the XRP 24-hour chart. Now let's switch to Bitcoin. And there it is. And so you can see there's about, I'll just ballpark it, about a 12-hour gap from when XRP ran up to when finally Bitcoin responded, along with other players in the market. Now that is fascinating. Now in 2019, there were at least 3 instances I can recall off the top of my head where XRP led the market. In those instances, though, it was actually a little bit different. Only in that Bitcoin responded sooner in those previous time frames. So I remember the first time I ever saw this happen in my entire life, which, mind you, I've only been in crypto a little over 2 years at this point, but I remember when there was a run-up in May of last year. I think it was May anyway. I am pulling from memory, admittedly, but there was that run-up, and there could have been a smaller run-up in April. I apologize if I'm mistaken here, but I covered it when it happened, and XRP moved, and then inside of 2 hours later, that's when Bitcoin finally responded to that price action. Fascinating. And you're going to see more and more of this as the decoupling continues. And so I don't know if this is an indicator of too much in a change in terms of decoupling. I think that as far as XRP being untethered from Bitcoin's price action is probably going to take a lot longer. Nonetheless, very positive development. So this next piece I got from XRP Crypto Wolf, shout out to you, good sir, which is titled XRP Leads Market Rally as Binance Launches Perpetual Futures Contracts with 75 times leverage. So this is what's being touted as the reason this all happened. XRP is leading a crypto market rally on Monday. The third largest cryptocurrency is currently up 10.96% according to the market data aggregator CoinMarketCap. The rally follows news that Binance Futures has launched perpetual futures contracts for XRP. The contracts are tradable against the stablecoin Tether, USDT, and users can choose between 1 and 75 times leverage. So, and I don't want to cover this whole thing. I just wanted to get the concept across. This is what people are saying. Here's a story where Yahoo Finance covered. I was just reading this before, and I don't really want to run through this. I don't think it's really necessary now. Here's Binance's official website right here, and you can see, again, this happened 16 hours ago. Binance Futures has launched its third perpetual contract, XRP/USDT. Users will be able to select between 175x leverage. Now, I saw a little bit before recording this, and I didn't verify the specific timing, but somebody on Twitter wrote that the price of XRP actually started spiking at least 10 minutes before this announcement. So apparently, perhaps something leaked. But it's kind of fascinating to me. Like, this would be the thing. So the news would get out. Some people that had this insider information would start buying XRP, and then it would ramp the price up somehow. It's fascinating because as far as price action with XRP as it pertains to the news coming out, if anything, the positive news has sustained XRP price to some degree, but it doesn't typically catapult it. And it seems weird to me that would happen in advance. So I don't know for sure that there's anything to that, maybe. But regardless, the timing does seem to line up pretty darn well. So perhaps this was a catalyst to whatever degree, even if the price action didn't start prior to the news breaking out. Next, so here's an article from You Today. XRP price surges almost 9% as Binance kicks off XRP/USD perpetual contract. This is all everybody in crypto media was writing about today. So here they're at the third largest cryptocurrency. XRP has suddenly grown by over 8% and regained the psychologically important level of 21 cents. The crypto community rejoices, woo, believing that is just the start of the XRP surge. And is it the start of the XRP surge, though? Maybe. Let's cover some more thoughts from some traders before making that determination. So, and I want to be clear, too, actually. I always say in every single video, I'm not a financial advisor, don't buy or sell because of me, because that really would be dumb. I'm just a member of the XRP community, no different than you. I just happen to have a YouTube channel and I enjoy talking about this stuff. But I want to be extra clear since we're talking a lot about price. Don't get super excited and buy or sell or hold because of me. Like, that's a really bad idea. I don't make price predictions. I don't know for sure where this is going. I'm just sharing opinions from others. And when I share my own opinion, it doesn't mean that you should mimic what I'm doing or get buy or sell because of me. I just want to be super duper crystal clear. I know I say that and it's annoying because I do it with such regularity, but I'd feel irresponsible and bad as a human if I weren't regularly citing that. So I hope that you can tolerate that. I feel like it's the right thing to do and I just got to do it. So take a look at this. Bitcoin price is aggressively targeting 9,550. And so this is a piece from You Today here. Take a look at this. The price of the major cryptocurrency has finally moved up from the 7,400 area where it had been trading for quite a while. And let's see. So in the last 24-hour low for Bitcoin, 7,502, 24-hour high, 7,963, which is very close to where it is now. But anyway, briefly dipping below $7,000 a few times recently. Press time, Bitcoin is sitting at 7,586. So it's from today, but there's been more price action, obviously, since this was written. And some analysts are expecting it to head for the 9,550 area soon. Crypto trader I Am Crypto Wolf believes that Bitcoin is going to move higher on the charts and expects it to break through the $8,090 barrier, thus confirming the fact of getting out of the 7-month falling wedge pattern. And he optimistically writes, quote, bulls will step in aggressively, targeting $9,550 easily. And there's the tweet on the screen. Another crypto trading expert, Scott Melker, says he had taken a speculative long when the Bitcoin price was sitting at $7,350, seeing a potential bullish divergence. Now he says that there is a signal of likely continuation up. And again, I want to be clear that the reason this is fascinating to me and potentially quite important is that even though XRP led the market, it's not like that's going to happen in perpetuity. I think that we're mostly going to see XRP responding to Bitcoin's price action for the foreseeable future. I don't think it'll stay like that forever. I can absolutely see a flippening happening, but if Bitcoin does indeed keep going up, Well, one would think that XRP might in fact do the same, which makes me happy, but also a little sad. It's kind of bittersweet because I've talked about on the channel how if XRP actually got down to what some were predicting of like that 15-cent range of Bitcoin. Of course, Catalyst would have been Bitcoin sinking up, but if Bitcoin went down enough, sinking as a result, the price of XRP down to 15, I had convinced myself that I would buy a particular quantity of XRP at that price outside of my regular purchasing schedule, which I'm very diligent about. And now I'm thinking, crap, this is great, it went up, but I might have missed out on that a potential opportunity if it doesn't come to pass. But who knows? Maybe Bitcoin will tank and I'll be like, woohoo, 15-cent XRP, I'm buying. I don't know. We shall see here. But there's a little subheading here. I'm expecting $9,400. Analyst and trader Crypto Michael NL has pointed out that the top coins of the market have finally started moving, including XRP, which has posted gains of nearly 9% on the news from Binance, which of course led the market. The expert further tweets that if Bitcoin breaks through $7,600 to $7,800 level, it is likely to reach $9,400 too. By the way, I want to be clear. I'm going to quote, I think this is the third one, but there's at least 4 traders that have that roughly the same opinion that if Bitcoin can hit roughly that level, that's the one to watch for. All right. And then he states before it happens, the price may slump to $7,200 briefly. And so there's the tweet where he's citing that on the screen. On to the next now. Here's a tweet. Okay, so this is our prophet here who called this, and so you could say either this is a crypto wizard or maybe accidentally right. I don't want to say that. I'm not saying that. I don't know. I guess with law of averages, if you make enough predictions, they have to be right. But this is not somebody that I recall having covered on the channel in the past or being aware of, so I'm not making that claim, just to be clear. All right. But this is LUT XRP, and at this point, I just say, hey, kudos to you because you got the timing right. So here's what he wrote. And this was on January 4th at 2:05 p.m., so about 36 hours before there was the price run up, and here's of XRP. And so here's what happened. He wrote, all-time weekly frame, and no room left anymore, not even a week, just 3 days to be exact. Well, okay, it ended up being 36 hours. Hey, just saying that's all. Look at all these triangles. Will it collapse? And you can see here's the chart that he had associated with this, where the green arrow is. That's what he's talking about, and then upward question mark. And so that's why I kind of wondered. It seems to me that technical analysis, that I firmly believe there is something to that. It's just about probability of outcomes. It's not like these traders, these analysts have a crystal ball. They don't, and they acknowledge that typically. Almost all of them do. But, it's a blend of what is likely to happen with market news, and that can affect price too. So maybe if it was about to make a breakout anyway, maybe it's the case that the catalyst being Binance, as it seems to have been, perhaps that's what it's fine, like, okay, pushed it out over the edge. And that's something that couldn't have been foreseen necessarily. But maybe just the likelihood of probabilities of that particular outcome in conjunction with the good news, who knows? Maybe that had something to do with it because it's, again, like I said, long term, I know this is primarily speculation in the world of crypto, but a blend of speculation along with analysis from traders and also from a fundamental perspective, just putting that all together could result in specific price action. So there you go. Here's a tweet from a chart analyst who regularly talks about XRP named Patty Stash. I like following this guy. He's a lot of fun. Here's what he wrote. Def looks good, but I'm not convinced yet. Another few days of big volume and upward movement, then maybe I'll feel confident. A retest of support, then bounce will make me more confident. Still a tad early, but so far, so good. XRP/BTC. So that's the chart that he has on the screen right here. XRP BTC. Next, here's another tweet from Patty Stash. And he writes this. This volume candle is no joke. Could be the signal we've been looking for to reverse. And this is an XRP chart. Zoom out a bit, and it's actually pushing through macro resistance. Looks like XRP could push before Ethereum. Maybe I'll drag it along with it too. Maybe it'll drag it along with it too. And then he writes that this is an image from KuCoin volume, specifically from that cryptocurrency exchange right there. Now, Patty says what he's mostly been watching, if you've been following my channel, you may be aware, he's been looking for a breakout in Ethereum, which has been in a 2-year downward trend, he keeps stating, more or less. And it's getting to a point where he firmly believes that it's highly likely, that there's going to be a breakout. But now he's saying, geez, with this price action, maybe it could be XRP that breaks out before Ethereum, whereas before he was saying, if anything, it seemed likely to him that it would be the inverse of that. So there you go. Here's a tweet from DIY Investing. Bitcoin looks increasingly like the bottom is in and alts looking primed to follow. I like when the market goes up. And that was just a couple hours ago, maybe about 3 hours ago as the time I'm recording this. So another analyst here saying, hey, this actually might be it as far as the Bitcoin bottom, more or less, which would be fascinating, because if that's it, and if it really does go where some of these chart analysts think it's going, XRP sub 30 cents, who knows if it's going to be below 30 cents for much longer. Here's another tweet for DIY Investing. So few people talk about Ethereum these days. This thing fueled the 2017 bull run for alts. Where did all the supporters go? Now, the reason I wanted to share that with you is because fair enough, most people aren't talking about Ethereum, but Patty Stash is, and it's fun that he said that. And I've been talking about how Patty Stash actually has been covering that. And DIY Investing, again, his opinion is that it absolutely fueled the 2017 bull run, which got the crypto asset class to almost $1 trillion. Not too far off from it, really. The high 800s in billion. So. Fascinating, which also ended up doing wonders for alts. That's why it's fascinating to me that XRP, with the movement it did, what if Patty Stash is what he's pondering ends up coming true, and XRP continues to move up and ends up breaking out in a more substantial way even than today, leading Ethereum perhaps. Who knows? Here's another tweet from DIY Investing. He writes, it makes me happy when altcoins are up with XRP leading the charge. Well, my friend, me too. All right, next here's a tweet from Josh Rager. Sounds angry. He writes, Bitcoin at resistance. Want to see a price push its way through this key area to break out of this range and for continuation to the upside. And so where he circled right here, it's at $7,689. So that's, I believe, the last chart analyst in this video I'm covering that has roughly the same opinion. That's more or less the area to watch. Now, Josh Rager, I remember he has also stated that if it gets up, I think the number he previously cited, to 7,950. That was his analysis within, I don't know, at some point within the last week. If that level can be sustained, then he thinks that we're really off to like a off to the races, bull market from there. But we'll see if that's sustained, because there's been all sorts of, as of late, especially the last couple of weeks, if you've been watching these types of videos that I make, I've covered all sorts of opinions. And there's been a lot of chart analysts out there that, with the data available at the time at least, were thinking more likely than not, Bitcoin could end up in the low 5,000s. And so I don't know if it's just that people are feeling extra positive today with the last 36 hours or even less where the price action, whatever. But regardless, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to pretend to know, of course. But maybe it could still happen. Maybe Bitcoin really could go that low, and then we see even lower prices with XRP. We're just going to have to kind of play the waiting game. But I'm not seeing that kind of talk from really any chart analyst today, anyway. All right, here's a tweet from Mr. VH. XRP with its biggest percent single-day gain since May 19 of 2019, and second largest single gain since September 21st, 2018. Not gonna see me diss it, I'll take it. Now let's line up a few more of those in a row, please. And he tagged me along with fellow XRP YouTuber BC Backer. And so shout out to you, Mr. VH. I do appreciate that. And here, I'll pull this up on full screen in case anybody wants to pause and actually take a look at the chart he had associated with that. All right. Last here, from the Real Block X writes, good morning, all XRP is up 10%. Bad news, it's all because of USDT, the Tether. The top 25 pairs doing volume this morning is XRP/USDT, which is clearly not on-demand liquidity related. Take profits if you wish. Highly doubt this trend lasts through tomorrow. He wrote third tomorrow. I think he meant through tomorrow. Anyway, I don't think that anybody was under the assumption that this was due to on-demand liquidity. This is purely speculative. That's my perception of what's going on here. Seriously, I haven't seen anybody claim it's because of on-demand liquidity. There's been all sorts of liquidity action not resulting in anything like that. As far as it being because of USDT, look, wherever the money comes from so that people can speculate, so be it. I haven't heard any sort of negative claim to that effect. But the bottom line is, it looks like it's because of Binance news, and XRP led the market, so there you go. But that's it for this video. Thank you very much for stopping by. I'd love to hear where you think things are going with the price action of XRP. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!